Please welcome Brian Kelsey.
Think about what you want in your career, what you want to achieve, or the people or person you need to meet to connect with to achieve that goal. How do you connect with them? Well, these days it's kind of easy. You've got like LinkedIn and other social media outlets, which I talked about in this video. But then what? How do you stand out from the rest? To me, it's part exaggeration and part being super creative. Here's a couple examples. So talking about exaggeration. Exaggeration is fine as long as you can produce. So when I went to college, I decided to major in radio. So I took a radio class and quickly failed it. So that summer I decided to intern at a radio station during the summer. Hopefully I would learn some stuff and then go back to school and be better at radio. Somebody said to me, hey, you've got a nice voice. Have you ever been on the radio? And of course I was like, definitely. So I was exaggerating. Clearly I didn't. Obviously I failed in the class. But I was confident that I could be on the radio because I had listened to the radio station and knew kind of what they did and whatever. A couple weeks later, the overnight DJ could not come in for whatever reason at the last minute. So they called me and they said, hey, Brian, you've been on the air. Can you fill in? Meanwhile, at that point, I had never even set foot in that air studio or any air studio. Midnight, got on the air, I sucked. By 6 a.m. though, I was in a groove, and the DJ that came on at 6 a.m. was the program director. He was the boss. And he had heard me coming in. He said, man, you sound pretty good. A couple weeks later, I got a job. And thus began my radio career. Here's another story. The second story continues on about 3 years later when a job opened up in New York City, which is market number one, the holy grail for anybody in the world who wants to work in radio or media, is New York City. Job opened up at a brand new rock station, and mind you, I was in Norwalk, Connecticut, which was like market number, 300, 400, whatever. So I needed to stand out. Now back then, there's no internet. You couldn't just reach out to anybody. It was much more difficult. In fact, the way you applied for a job is to write a letter and put your cassette demo in the mail and send it. So I was trying to think of how I could stand out, and I was talking to people at work, and we came up with this idea. My on-air name was Brian Savage. I didn't pick that name, but that's what it was on the air. So I had balloons made up that said, Brian Savage, on the air and in the air, pop and listen. I took the cassette, put it in the balloon, blew up the balloon, put it in a big box, and sent it, and I got the job. So I worked there for a couple of years, then worked at K-Rock up the street for a couple of years, and finally ended up with Howard Stern for a bunch of years, and Martha Stewart as well, and it all started doing it yourself with a little bit of exaggeration and a whole lot of creativity. And the point I'm trying to
This has been a Brian Kelsey movie.